Good morning, YouTube. It is 7 a.m. in the great state of Texas on a Thursday, and we are doing a walnut pen today because on Thursdays we do pens, and if you've seen me make one pen, you've seen me make them all, but we love making pens on the channel. So, walnut wood today, which is, if you've watched any of my other bowl making videos, you guys know that walnut is probably my favorite wood to work with. And this pen is a great example of why this wood is so much fun, because the grain of it looks amazing. So doing what we typically do, cutting it down to the sizes that we need, drilling our holes for our actual pen to go into. This part is probably the most aggravating part here, because if you don't center those holes exactly right, it will deviate and then it'll explode on the lathe. But that part goes really smooth. The actual pen goes really smooth as well. So I actually have an entire box of like walnut pen blanks. So you guys are probably going to see me make this pen a million times on the channel. However, I always say make the stuff that you like to make, and I love making pens. It's one of my favorite things to do now as a woodworker. Just got into it, and it's a lot of fun. So if you guys have seen me make one pen, you've kind of seen me make them all. And we had a little bit of an issue on this one. I guess I didn't put enough super glue. As you could see there, here I am trying to tighten this down so that it'll start to turn. But you can see here it's clearly come off the brass fitting. So I'll need to take that off, re-super glue it, and then come back to the lathe and work it down a little bit, which is surprising because that has actually never happened to me before. I guess I just had a little bit of an issue when I set up the pen, but obviously we put a copious amount of super glue on it the second time around, and we're obviously not having any issues or problems with this. So once we get that all figured out, this part goes really smoothly. Not a whole lot of issues here, just trying to make it thin enough to where it fits comfortably in the hand and doesn't explode on the lathe. Again, that's always my biggest fear with these pen videos, is just that it's going to explode on the lathe once I start making it. But this one goes smooth. Again, it's not acrylic. I hope to be working with acrylic here in the next couple of months when it starts to warm up a little bit. I've had a lot of issues with acrylic. Made a couple of acrylic pens actually, but I don't know what it is. It's just, if you don't do it right, just that small little mess up will cause a catastrophic failure. But wood pens are a little bit easier to work with in my opinion. But we get everything worked down in the way we want. Now we're starting the sanding portion of it here, doing our typical 50 grit to 120 up to 180, and spent not a lot of time, but our average amount of time just sanding here. And then we're going to take our super glue and polish this up real nice, and try not to lose our fingers like we almost did there, but that's why we work with paper towels, so that it'll take the paper towel and not your finger. But getting this polished looks really cool. You can see that dark grain in the wood, which looks really amazing in my opinion. And then just hitting it with some mineral oil, and then we'll be all done, and then we'll be ready for assembly. And this one probably is one of my most favorite pens that I've ever made. But I had a little bit of an issue here. The actual brass part of it was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. So I took it off camera to the sander, sanded everything down to where everything was nice and flush. So getting the pen assembled came together really nicely, no issues whatsoever. That's always a good thing. So getting everything made, they do make the actual device that will help you do what that grip does. So I think working with the the clamp is just as good in my opinion. So no issues here, and it will write, and we are all done. So another beautiful walnut pen comes together. Looks really cool. Really like the grain of the wood. Only had that one slight issue in the beginning when it spun off the brass fitting, but overall wood looks really good. Again, I have tons of these blanks that I'll be doing in the future, so there's going to be a lot of repetitiveness, but hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.